This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Today's video is brought to you by Conflict of Nations. In just a moment, I'm going to talk about an offer exclusive to my audience. Before I get to that, though, I want to talk about this Business Insider article. I've been wanting to do a piece like this for a while, and this article popped up in my normal reading of news, and they did the work for me. So fantastic, because I am lazy. I get asked a lot about where we are with the myriad cases, legal litigation against Donald Trump and MAGA-world, the satellite of goons that surround Donald Trump. Where are we with all of this? What's the timeline? What are the months and the dates that we should be looking for? And what exactly is at stake? What is on the docket in different courts all across the country to hold Donald Trump and his acolytes accountable? When will we see consequence? All of these questions will be asked. Well, some of these questions will be answered when we go through what is happening not only this month, but on into next year. I would encourage you to stick around, bookmark. I will even put chapters down below to let you know which months you can look for. Maybe revisit this video and see what's happening. Before I get to all of this, though, and there's a lot, a word from today's sponsor, Conflict of Nations. I like to know what makes someone tick. Indeed, this informs a large part of the research I do here on the show. What thought process drives the agenda of a person or a group, and does it create a pattern that allows us to predict further actions? This is important in satisfying work, applying these findings to real people and organizations, but it's also just as fun and insightful to use them in a context of a game. Conflict of Nations is a free online strategy game that checks all the same boxes for me. You can battle player versus player with up to 128 others on PC or mobile in contests that can take a few weeks to finish. Forge alliances or declare war on neighboring nations. It's up to you to choose your own plan of attack. And my favorite part, it all happens in real time. Conflict of Nations offers a nearly endless combination of strategy and resources to implement. How many tanks will you need to take over Cambodia versus how many jets? Would manpower alone be enough for Pakistan to overcome Iran? Should I invest in some submarines, or will that spread my resources too thin? Join me on Conflict of Nations to find out. Click on the link in the description to get this exclusive gift, 13,000 gold to start you out in the game, plus 1 month of their premium subscription for free. This offer is only available for 30 days and only to my audience, so don't miss out. So let's get into this article, this Business Insider article. It'll be linked below. 2022 is shaping up to be a legal nightmare for Trump world. Here's a timeline of upcoming court cases and legal obstacles. And we start this month, January 31st, a New York State court in Manhattan court will hold a hearing in the criminal case against the Trump Organization and its CFO, Alan Weisselberg, who's become more marginalized within the company following the indictment from last July. The status conference is expected to update the public on how Trump Organization lawyers are reviewing the 6 million pages of discovery material for the case, where the Manhattan District Attorney's Office alleges the company and executive dodged millions of dollars in taxes. The judge has also signaled he wants to hold a trial before the end of 2022. All of this is good news for progress in this case. It is also bad news for Donald Trump because a lot of the details are going to be coming out and made public, which I hope will spur other investigations and more consequence for Donald Trump in other municipalities. Moving on to February 2022. February 4th, Trump's lawyers pushed for months in federal courts to keep the Biden administration from turning over his White House records to House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. At every turn, the former president lost, with the Supreme Court effectively rejecting his claim of executive privilege. Now, with the National Archives and Records Administration already turning over documents, Trump is facing a decision on how or whether to proceed with his legal challenge. An answer could come as early as February. Just days after the Supreme Court declined to take up Trump's case, lawyers for the House and Biden administration asked to have until February 4th to make their latest response to the former president's legal arguments. In light of the Supreme Court decision and the subsequent production of records to the House committee, the lawyers said they had agreed that the best course was to extend the deadline so that Trump, quote, can determine his next steps. Which brings us to February 17th. A Washington, D.C. court is set to hold a hearing on the D.C. Attorney General's lawsuit against Donald Trump's 2017 inaugural committee. In November, Trump notched a partial win as the judge dismissed part of the suit, but other elements of the case, where the Attorney General's office alleged the committee illegally misused funds, will be moving forward. The hearing is expected to set a schedule for discovery process before it goes to trial. Because you might not know, but as early as the inauguration, the planning of Donald Trump's inauguration, there were misdeeds, misappropriation of money. There were self-dealing. Donald Trump was booking high-priced rooms and conference rooms in his hotel, profiting off of the presidency before he was even in office. Moving us into March 29th, this deals with Matt Gaetz. Joel Greenberg, a former associate of Republican Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida, is expected to go before a judge for his prison sentencing. Greenberg could potentially be a key witness in the Justice Department investigation into the lawmaker. The Gaetz associate has already pleaded guilty to several charges, including sex trafficking. Gaetz is one of Trump's most loyal supporters. This is something I have been talking about for months, and it's not looking good. Apparently, an associate of Matt Gaetz has pleaded guilty and is also turning on him and giving all kinds of information that is going to land him in prison. Allegedly. That's my opinion. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. Moving us into April 2022. April 4th, the second special grand jury impaneled by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in its criminal investigation into the Trump Organization's finances is set to wrap by this date. Another indictment in this investigation, or decision from prosecutors to not indict, could come shortly afterward. They have likely already made their opinion. They're just collecting more and more evidence in the case. Bringing us to May 2nd. Jury selection is scheduled to begin for a trial for a civil lawsuit brought by a group of protesters against the Trump Organization. The protesters sued in 2015, alleging the company's security guards roughed them up during a demonstration outside Trump Tower. A video of a deposition Trump was forced to take this past fall is expected to be shown at a trial as evidence. I have shown clips from this particular incident in previous videos. May 2nd, again, a special grand jury for Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis's investigation into Trump will be impaneled on May 2nd and continue for up to 12 months. This announcement on Monday comes after Willis formally requested to have a special grand jury that would give her the subpoena power to obtain documents and compel witnesses to testify. This is important because it will point to Donald Trump. We've all heard the tape. We've heard Donald Trump pressuring the Secretary of State of the state of Georgia to find the 11,780 votes that he needed, which is one more than we got. We've heard him. We've seen the concerted effort by MAGA-world and those around Donald Trump to try to interfere with the election results in certain states, Georgia being one of them. This is a case to follow. Moving into June 2022. June 1st, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis told the Associated Press in January that she is expecting to decide whether to charge Trump by the first half of 2022. June 29th, litigants will get to see a copy of Trump's Celebrity Apprentice tapes. June 29th marks the deadline of discovery in a lawsuit brought by a group of people who say the Trump Organization pushed an alleged pyramid scheme. While Trump in Celebrity Apprentice vouched for the ACN video phone, litigants are trying to figure out if other footage shot for the show demonstrated otherwise. ACN lost an attempt to bring the case to arbitration, and a jury trial is expected to be scheduled for late 2022 or 2023. All of these things are on the mind of Donald Trump because it's not looking good. The many, many, many lawsuits, it's very unlikely that they're all just going to go away. One or two of these is going to land him in hot water. Moving us to July 7th. Prosecutors of Roger Stone, one of Trump's longtime political advisors, have to meet this deadline for a civil case where U.S. attorneys in Florida have alleged Stone failed to pay $2 million in unpaid taxes, interest, and penalties. Who's shocked? Who among you is shocked that Roger Stone is alleged to have not paid his taxes? Thick as thieves with Donald Trump, another one who doesn't pay his taxes. July 18th, former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon is expected to go to court in Washington, D.C. Bannon is facing 2 criminal charges over defying a congressional subpoena. The Justice Department formally charged him in November 2021 after he refused to comply with a subpoena handed down from the House Select Committee that is investigating the January 6th insurrection. Bringing us to September and then to November. September 7th, Tom Barrack, the chairman of Trump's 2017 inaugural committee, is set to stand trial in September on charges he secretly acted as an agent of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Barrack was charged in July with using his access to Trump to advance the United Arab Emirates' foreign policy goals and later misleading federal investigators about his activities in the 2019 interview. Does it ever shock anyone? Are you ever surprised at how many indictments, how much litigation, how much wrongdoing, how many accusations have been leveled against people who orbit Donald Trump? Remember the massive number of indictments that came from the 8 years that Barack Obama was president. Remember that number? 0. Not a single one. Donald Trump was only in office for 4 years, and this is what was left in his wake: chaos and criminality. The indictment of a top Trump fundraiser marked an escalation of the Justice Department's crackdown in recent years on covert foreign influence. Barrack's legal team is headlined by Daniel Petrocelli, a partner at the law firm O'Melveny and Myers, who previously represented Enron CEO Jeffrey Skilling. What a great track record. And more recently defended AT&T's acquisition of Time Warner against the Justice Department antitrust challenge. And then finally, we go to November. November 7th. Again, Roger Stone. Trump's longtime political advisor, Roger Stone, is scheduled to go on trial in federal court in Florida over allegations that he failed to pay over $2 million in taxes, as well as interest and penalties for the unpaid sum. November. Be looking for that. Look, it is... where there's smoke, there's fire. All of these lawsuits are smoke. Not smoke and mirrors smoke. Smoke is in the byproduct of a fire, of an inferno, of the house burning down around us. This is what happens when you elect a vile, sinister, self-dealing coward who cares more about his bottom line, more about enriching himself, than he does about the well-being of the country he is supposedly leading. And remember when he said, I'll hire the best people. I know what I'm doing. It's the best. He did. The best pieces of shit money could buy is who he hired. What do you think, though? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. This was a lot to digest going through the calendar. There will be chapters below. You probably already saw them. I appreciate you guys. Follow me on social media. I'd love to connect with you there. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. And if, and only if, I bring you some value, please consider supporting my work. You can click the join button below this video. Look what's involved to become a channel member. And for $1.99, you can become a channel member. Or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I'll see you next time. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.